Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we will be exploring this new capability that was just released by OpenAI a week ago, and it is known as Custom GPT. So Custom GPT is so powerful because you can now create your own custom chats or use customized chats that others have created. In my previous video, I've touched on how to create custom AI assistants using them as templates within the playground environment by OpenAI. Now, this Custom GPT is somewhat similar, but it's way more powerful, and it's within the ChatGPT environment. If you haven't watched that video, do check it out in the description below. But in this video, I will be walking you through how to create custom GPTs. I will then showcase some of my very own custom chats that I've created to supercharge my productivity at work. And do stay to the end of this video where I will show you how to connect your custom GPTs with Zapier to take things outside of ChatGPT. It means that now you can connect your ChatGPT to your Gmail, your Slack Messenger, to your to-do list, or any apps that is supported by Zapier. So this video might be a little bit long. Do bear with me and skip on ahead with the timestamps below if you need to. Without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so over here, I'm on ChatGPT right now, and as you can see, the whole interface has changed. So if you have watched my previous video, I've always been complaining about having too many chats and we can't use them together. So now ChatGPT 4 has combined everything together. We have the browsing capabilities of Bing together with DALL-E and also the code interpreter, which is under analysis over here. Plugins are still separated, but it still works the same as before. Okay, and the other thing that's different is that now you are able to create your own chats on the left side over here that you can see, or you can use chats that are created by others. So they will all be on the sidebar here. The history of your conversations will still be below, the same as how it works previously. So if you scroll up, these are all the custom chats that I've created. So these custom chats actually works pretty much the same as the AI assistants that I've talked about in my previous video, which is the experiments that I've done using AI assistants on OpenAI's playground. So if you haven't watched that video, I've put a link in the description. You can feel free to visit that at your own pace. So this works the same as the AI assistants. Basically, all you need to do is just create instructions. So there is an additional function that I will show you, and that is there is an AI on top of an AI that can help you create the instructions. Okay, so by clicking on Explore, you will see all these chats over here. I've created a couple of them for my work purpose. If you scroll down, they are pre-made ones by OpenAI. These individual chats serve totally different purpose. Say if you need IT support, you can use this tech support advisor. If you want to learn how to cook, you can use sous chef over here. If you have some problems in math, you can get this math mentor chat. If you want to find out more about like the latest memes, explain memes to you, use Gen 4 memes. Right, so there are like a whole bunch of them. I have created my own ones for my own job. So for those of you who do not know, I am an SEO by profession. SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. So I help companies to grow their business via visibility on search. And my day-to-day job involves me having to create content, optimize content, run audits. So there's a whole bunch of like very mundane and very boring stuff, right? Which is why I've created these chats to help me to increase my productivity and to easily get some of this work done very quickly. So I will be showing you each and every one of these chats that I've created, on how I've created them, and also their effectiveness. But before that, let me just quickly run through how you can create a custom chat. So when you click on create new chat, you'll be brought to this page where you have two buttons over here, create, configure, and also a preview tab, right? You can prompt in GPT Builder to help you generate what is required in the configure tab. It can help you generate a name, description, instructions, even the conversation starters. And then the preview will update in real time. So whatever that you put here, let's say I give it a name of ABC, the preview will show me ABC, right? So it's just a preview of what's on the left panel over here. Once you have all the instructions in, you can also test it out by messaging in the preview tab. It will run in real time. So making tweaks here will reflect on the right side preview. Okay, so if you have watched my previous video on creating AI assistants, I've created a couple of custom instructions that acts as personas for the AI assistants so that it can run specific tasks. If you copy the instructions and you put it here, it works the same. But honestly, although that video was created just a couple of days ago, right now it's already outdated because now you are able to use this GPT Builder to enhance on that instructions. So you don't really technically have to create your own instructions anymore. You can just put in the specific things that you want. The more specific you are, GPT Builder will create a more customized instruction based on those specifics that you have provided. So if you come up with something generic, then it will give you very generic instructions. So in this case, let me just create a Python instructor. Okay, so I just use a simple prompt. I want to learn Python, create a Python instructor that can teach me Python from beginner to advanced. So once I run this, sometimes might ask you questions again, like what name you want to use, does this sounds good, and things like that, right? But you can just leave it up to them. Again, if you have something very specific, let's say I'm learning Python in the aspects of AI, I want to do more AI, right? If you put that in, it might give you a different type of instructions as compared to this generic one. So always remember to be very specific to the GPT builder so that it can create something that you want. Okay, so it says here Python instructor GPT is set up. So it gave me the name, you see, and it's updating itself on the left side, right? It even create all the conversation starter on the right side here. Okay, so as I go back here, it will add in this passage, right? This is the persona, right? You are a Python instructor GPT designed to teach Python programming from beginner to advanced and so on. This GPT builder works a little bit like our Synapse AI. There is a custom instructions that's created by Synaptic Labs. I have a video on that. Do check it out in the description below if you haven't. Basically, Synaptic Labs, they have created these custom instructions that acts like GPT builder, but it runs on ChatGPT, and it will assign a Professor Synapse to get better context of your task, and it will start asking you questions to clarify, right? And once they get the clarity of the task that you're doing, they will assign a role or a persona that best fits that task, and it will start helping you with that task with that role. So GPT Builder is very much similar, although it's not as powerful as Synapse, but it is somewhere there, right? It is able to help you to draft out that character or that persona that you need for this chatbot. Okay, so that's basically it, right? It's so simple. Now, if we scroll down after conversation starters, so conversation starters is the ones that reflect here to help the user make the initial decision to start the conversation, right? You can customize this as much as you like, but I'll just keep it as it is. If we scroll down, there's this portion called knowledge, right? And it allows you to upload files. So this basically uses this NLP, which is natural language processing technique of an AI known as RAG, which is in short for retrieval augmented generation. Basically what it does is that if you upload information here, it's able to base off the context of the conversation to see whether is there a need to access this knowledge to get updated with the information it requires to answer your question. So for example, Python instructor GPT right now is based on our GPT-4 model, and this GPT-4 model's training cutoff date is April 2023. And right now Python, if I'm not wrong, is at Python 3. So if next year Python 4 comes out, and obviously this GPT model doesn't know about it, right? All I need to do is just to come back here into these settings here, and I upload the Python 4 documentations. And once I upload the Python 4 documentations, when I'm having that conversation here as a user, it will then think whether it needs to access that new information in this file here. It will then trigger that action to go into this file to retrieve that information. Apart from that, we have capabilities here with web browsing, DALL-E image generation, and code interpreter. I will suggest that we turn on code interpreter all the time, because if you don't turn it on, it will not activate code interpreter at all. Let's say for this chat as a Python instructor, right, as a user, and I want to maybe upload a couple of Python codes that I've created and get GPT instructor to help me diagnose them, or to help me to give me more examples, or to even help me break down the code. With code interpreter turned on, Python instructor might realizes there's a need to run all this code in a virtual environment, and that would help give me better answers, right? So it will do that, but without code interpreter turned on, it might not even run it in a virtual environment. So it will just give me maybe back in plain text. And the last thing is actions. Okay, so if I click on add actions, so basically this is more of connecting to third-party APIs via a function call, and pull all this information and pull whatever necessary information back to the AI, so that if the user asks a question and it requires a more specific answer from a third-party source, they will be able to then use this function call to pull the answers. Later on, towards the end of the video, I will show you a way to connect these to Zapier so that you are able to perform actions that is outside of ChatGPT. For example, let's say I get Python instructor GPT create a to-do list for me on a day-to-day basis on what I should learn for an hour every day. And with Zapier turned on, right, I will be able to then send all this information to my to-do list, or I can get Python instructor to create a to-do list for me. So this is how we can connect to Zapier to run tasks outside of ChatGPT. I'll show that in a while. But this is it for the custom GPT. I'm just going to go back here and very quickly run through some of these SEO AI chats that I've created. Okay, so I'm going to start off with my first example here. I've created this SEO meta title description generator. So going to this chat, if I show you the instructions that I have, it looks something like that. So if you see here, I have like a couple of very strict rules that I need to help me create all these, the meta title and description, like for example, the character limit for both the title and description. And I actually lowered down the actual character limit. Usually it's 60 and description is about 155 character limit, right? But GPT is very bad at counting characters. So they will often give me something that's way longer. So I've decided to lower down the character limit count so that at least if it generates something slightly longer, it's not too long. So I would have to make less edits, right? But these are very specific items that is meant for creating title and description, which is, like I've mentioned, if you're using the GPT builder, the more specific you go, it will give you something that's even more customized, which is what I did. So these chats, they are all public, and I will put all these links here in the description, so you can feel free to use all these chats if you want to. So very quickly, let me just do a very quick example, right? To activate this, all I need to do is just to provide the AI a little bit of context, right? And let's say right now I'm looking for VPN, and maybe I'll just use these to create a title and description just to show you how effective it is. So I could just say here context, all right? And I can just do triple quotes and paste the information on the website in, right? I can just copy until here, right? Okay, I don't even need a lot of information, or this is all I need. Okay, and then create a meta title and description. All right, so what I did is just taking existing information for context. The words that are on the website is just the same as how I do it day to day with my work. I just take the context of the copy that I have, put it in, and it will just create one for me. Right, so as you can see these are pretty well drafted meta titles and descriptions. It might be slightly long despite what it says here, 55 characters. Here is 145. If I'm not wrong, the description is slightly way longer, but it still works and it helps me a lot because all I need to do is just to edit it a little bit and I will get my meta title and description. So I'll put this link in the description below. You can use this chat for your own work as well if you're an SEO tool. And this AI here already has all the title and description best practices as part of their instructions. So they will create really good titles and descriptions with keywords and stuff like that. So it's very dynamic, right? You can even, instead of the content over here, you can even just put in the keywords that you want, right? And just give it a little bit of a snippet of what the landing page is about. Or if you have a blog article, you can even paste in your entire blog article here to let it figure it out on its own, right? So that's the great thing about having these customized AI chats. Okay, so I'll just move on to the next one, which is this website search quality evaluator. So if you're in the field of SEO or digital marketing, you might have heard of Google search quality guidelines. So this is how Google evaluate websites, right? They have like a search quality guidelines that they will engage manual evaluators to analyze a website. And they have a couple of points that they use to determine what is a good or a bad site. So for this, it's very straightforward. All I need to do is just to get I've already reverse engineered all the best practices and all these entire search quality guidelines into a custom instructions. So if I show you the custom instruction, this is how it looks like. And I've added in things like, oh, you need to rate the website on a scale of 1 to 5. I also want to see feedback and suggestions for improvements. So these are some of like the additional stuff that I've added on top of what GPT Builder has created for me. And then apart from that, I've also put in under the knowledge, attach these search quality evaluator guidelines by Google itself. So again, these search quality guidelines changes from year to year. Every year they update it. With this RAG, I would be able to just upload a new version of the file next year. So in case it gets outdated, I can update it from this file. So the instructions is just so simple, right? And once I'm done, I'll just update it. And to use it, it's pretty straightforward. All I need to do is just to probably go to this website, for example, right? Like this Binance article, I copy its link and I just need to tell it to evaluate this website. and run it. So it will activate browse with Bing. Yeah, it will start searching its knowledge first because now it knows that it needs to retrieve information from that PDF file. If I'm not wrong, it might start printing out a very quick summary of what these guidelines are. But let's see, right? Let's wait for it. Okay, so it has given me the evaluation criteria, which is what they have retrieved out from the PDF. It even went on ahead to this thing called Product Hunt to get its all-time rating, right? And it tells you that the recent review has dipped to 1.1 out of 5. It also went on ahead to use the different factors in the guidelines. And the thing that I like about this is that under author credibility, although this is a well-known entity in the cryptocurrency space, the individual author isn't explicitly verified because in the URL, the author isn't kind of like shown, right? So it does very well in picking out all these little nitty-gritty information. Apart from that, the rest pretty self-explanatory. I'm expecting it to give me like a rating score, but instead it went into Product Hunt to find that rating score. And the best thing about this is that it gives me the feedback for improvement, which is transparency of the authors, the one that we talked about here. And then it also provided this user feedback incorporation, which is, to add in user feedbacks, right? And the rest, you can read it by yourself. So this is pretty good. Of course, every run will be different. I run this a few times, not all the time it looks like that. This is the better ones. There are sometimes that it's pretty generic, and sometimes it does hallucinate a little bit as well. But in this case, it makes life a lot easier, right? Now, I don't really need to memorize the factors in my head and then go read other people's content to see whether it fits the bill. All I need to do is just to load all these instructions into the custom instructions, create a chat like that, and just run URLs after URLs, right, to get an evaluation. For consistency, I can even run these twice just to see whether the results are the same or not. Or I run a couple of times, right, because it's so quick, it's within minutes. Yeah, there you have it, a website search evaluator chat. Again, this link will be in the description below. If you want to evaluate your own website, feel free to use this chat. I'll move on to the next one, which is the content enhancer. Oh, this is the one that I really love. Okay, so if you're an SEO or you are a content writer, right, you might not be an SEO, but if you are a content writer, I'm not sure if you have heard of this tool, but it's called SEO Surfer, right? So what it does is that it evaluates your content based on a bunch of keywords over here. These are all what we call an LSI keyword, in short for latent semantic indexing keywords. These are keywords that gives the search engine meaning, contextual keywords, right? It gives search engine meaning of your primary keyword. So in this case, these black and yellow snakes is my primary keyword. Hopefully, when someone search for this black and yellow snake in the search, my article, 17 types of black and yellow snake with stripes in this world, will show up in the first page. So based on that, this SEO Surfer kind of like give me a scoring, right? This is my existing article. It's about 3,944 words. The score is about 53 out of 100. And this score is tabulated based on all these keywords here, right? Sometimes I might have used a keyword too many times. That will affect my score. If I didn't use certain keywords, that will affect my score as well. So what I did is I would use this chat, right? This chat I've created, put in all the best practices. I have given it a step-by-step. I can show it to you very quickly as well on how to deal with all this. So I have like a step-by-step task list, right, on what to take note of every step of the way. Okay, what I expect it to do is to edit existing article to insert or reduce the amount of keywords based on this information here. So what I will do is I will save up my old content into a document. I will retrieve all these keywords and its frequencies into a CSV file or into a TXT file, whichever the case, right? And I will get it to start analyzing. Okay, so this will help me to remove keywords that are mentioned too many times or to insert keywords that are too many times. And it does a really wonderful job, right? I'll just show you the chat that I've done it. So how it works is that I've attached both my files, the black and yellow snake article that I've copied from here, and I convert it into markdown format. And I've also used this keyword frequencies.csv, which is all these keywords over here with their minimum and maximum frequency, right? So I attach them and I just use a very simple prompt. So because all my instructions have already been set properly, I don't really need to put in much in the prompt, right? So I can be a very layman user and I can still do this very easily. So it starts analyzing my content, my keywords, and it even tells me which keywords are below frequency, which is all these keywords. These are not really mentioned in my article, and which keywords are above the frequency. It has been used too many times, so it needs to be reduced, right? And it tells me that, okay, it will start editing. And as part of my instructions, if the article is very long, do break it up into chunks. So which is what they did, right? They divided into 187 parts. Okay, so it's a bit tedious, yes, but it gets the job done. So it prints out the original content, right? And it then print out the edited content. This is what I love about this. So if you scroll down further, it just did the same original content, and it tells me what's the edited content. So it highlighted all the areas that they have added the keywords in. And then part 3, part 4. So I didn't run everything. I only did like maybe a quarter of the content. So I've copied all this down and I've added it into a new article here. Okay. So right now, this is my old article, and I only did it to this part over here, this paragraph over here. So everything above, I've gotten the AI to edit it for me. I can carry on, but it's just way too much, right? Because it's like 3,000 words. And then for the sake of this example, I kind of stopped there. Yeah, I stopped at part 8, right? So I just put all this edited content into this new article. I'm just going to show you how much improvement it brought to this content, right? Okay, so I'm just going to copy this entire text, which is the newly edited ones. I'm going to go in here. This is my old content, right? And I'm going to replace this with the new edited ones, the new edited text, right? So you see now the score of the old content is 53, okay? And I'm going to replace it with the new one, right? And you see the score just went up to 73, right? From 53, it went up 20, right? It went up to 73. You see how powerful this tool is, and it reduces the keywords that I've used too many times, and it has added keywords that I haven't really used yet. So it did it all by using the AI itself. Okay, so this is my favorite tool for now. Although the downside to this is that even though OpenAI claims that the current ChatGPT 4, they are using the GPT-4 Turbo now. I'm not sure about ChatGPT. I'm assuming it's using the GPT-4 Turbo model, which has a 128,000 context window. But despite that, it's still not able to generate the whole piece for me. It has to go part by part, right? Maybe because the output tokens has a limit. I haven't really deep dive into that yet, but there is an input and output tokens, and I think the output has a limitation. So yeah, so this is pretty much it for this content enhancer. It's my favorite tool right now. I can just use this to edit my content. So I technically don't really need an SEO editor anymore. I don't need a writer or editor. Maybe I still need a writer, but I don't need an editor anymore, because now I can use AI to edit my content that I've got someone else to write, and I can just enhance on it using AI. Okay, so the next one that I'm going to just quickly run through is the same example that I've did in my previous video on the AI assistant one, which is this SEO internal link architect. Again, I've already fine-tuned my instructions, and it's as easy as putting in the files. So this chat, basically what it does is that I need to upload an existing article and some of the internal links that I have in my website, for example. So as part of a content writer or an SEO, after your content is written, you will want to link it up to other links that you have for further reading. So you want to maybe add in very good internal links so that when a user kind of like maybe not understand about a particular topic, it can click on that internal link to access the other article and learn more about that topic, right? So internal link is very important, and what this chat does is really simple. I have all the best practices of internal linking compressed into a custom instruction. All you need to do is to upload the article and your internal links file. It will then sieve through your content to find for opportunities, and it will link it up for you. So it works very similar to the internal link architect AI assistant that I've created in my previous video. Okay, so let me just probably show you very quickly. So let's wait a while. Okay, it says here that it will start to process strategically of adding in internal links to your article based on the content and the list of internal links available. So my guidelines is that every internal link should be unique, and in this article, it should only be used once. And then limiting to probably about 5 to 10. So I set 10, but unless the users specify they want 5 or 4 or 3, you know, it will just be default as 10. Okay, so this is how it's doing it for me. I'm expecting it to generate the entire content for me with the links, right? But it's not. So I probably have to go back to my custom instructions and start tweaking my custom instructions a little bit. So I'm just going to stop here very quickly because it's just going to take forever, right? So I've run this a couple of times and it's a little bit inconsistent because not all the time I get what I want. In this case over here, by looking at the links that it's linking to, it's not really relevant because these security anchor tags, right, they link it to an article, 21 million Bitcoin mined. So it's a little bit irrelevant. For blockchain scalability, they link it to the beginner's guide to DAI, which is DAI. Not something that I think it's just weird, right? And then researchers, they link me to 6 biggest NFT trend. So the linking is wrong, but what I like is that they give an original and then followed by the link. To verify it in my content is very easy, right? But again, you know, every iteration that I've run is totally different. I've expected this to create the entire content for me again with the internal link in Markdown format. But in this case, it doesn't. So I might just need to go back to my instructions over here and start tweaking it a little bit. So feel free to let me know which of these chat you think is the better performing ones. I've added all their links in the description below. Do try it out if you want to. Once I provide the link, you can access this chat and use it like something like this Grimoire here, right? And you can pin it to your sidebar so that you don't have to remember the URL and it will always be in your sidebar. So feel free to use my chats over here and explore it on your own or test it out, right? And also leave some feedback for me if you realize that it's not really working. But in any case, the chats are all there, free to use. There is no cost to it or anything. So just go ahead if you are a ChatGPT Plus user. Okay, so this brings us to the final part of this video, which is adding Zapier into your chats. Now, why would you want to add Zapier into your chats is mainly because you want to run tasks within ChatGPT and then connect to apps outside of ChatGPT. And Zapier can help you achieve that. So it links you up with any other apps outside of ChatGPT. And you will be able to send information from the chat itself out into your blog or maybe into a to-do list, into a Gmail, and so on. So this has been showcased in the Dev Day update from OpenAI. So I just want to quickly just run you through how to get it started so that you can then incorporate this into your chats and you can use this to increase your productivity by 2-3 times. So in order to do that, let's quickly hop back to my screen and you would need to go to this URL, actions.zapier.com, which is the page that you see on my screen here. So you will need to go to this ChatGPT and GPT's link, right? And I'll put this link in the description below. So over here, there is a whole set of instructions, step-by-step guide on how to do it. All you need to do to get started is to firstly copy this link. Once you have copied this link, go back to your ChatGPT, go to any one of your chats, right? You can create a new one, or you can reuse the one that is existing, it's up to you. Click on this Python mentor and go to edit your GPT. So for this, I have already set it up. It looks like something like that, right? So I can just close it off again and I'll show you, I'll restart the whole entire thing, right? So go down to these actions, add the actions here, click on this import from URL. So on first glance, you might think that it's not even a link, right? So I kind of got tricked. I didn't know that this is actually a link, right? So I've been like finding out all high and low to find out how to key in that URL. But it's right here, right? Import from URL. Click on it. It will open up a text box like that. Copy and paste the URL in and click on import. It will then bring in all the JSON code into the schema text box over here, right? And you can see these available actions that is getting from this path a list of available actions and it will run those actions. Okay, you then just need to click on this back button, go back to the instructions sheet over here. Now you will want to open this up. Okay, so this is my instructions that I've created, right? So anything below doesn't exist before this, right? So let me just cut it out. So it should look like that in the start, right? So you should have your own instructions, right? So go back to this get started page, scroll down until you hit these instruction templates for AI actions. You would have to copy this entire thing out, just like what I did. I copied it and I pasted it below here. Okay, so you will then need to head down to these required actions, okay, and you will have to change up your actions because by default the text here is Google Calendar find event and Slack send direct message. Okay, so for me, I've already done up my action, which is these 3 actions here: create, update, find, to connect to my to-do list app, right? And I also have the confirmation link that I've copied out, right? So now let me show you how to retrieve this information. Okay, So by going to this Get Started page, scroll up to the sidebar, under My Actions, you will open up this tab. So you will see that, if I'm not wrong, when you first entered this page, it should be empty. So there will be some on-screen instructions and links that you can click on to get this hooked up to your ChatGPT. And once you hooked it up, right, you can click on this Manage Instructions, right, to open up a new window. And in this new window, you will find that for you, it might be empty. For me, I've already added all this before, right? So all you need to do is just add a new action. And it will open up this page here with an action text box, right? You need to just type in the app that you want. So if it's Slack Messenger, type it in, let it load for a couple of seconds. It will show up a list of actions here that you can use, right? If it's Discord, just type in Discord and it will show you a list of actions that you can use, right? Send direct message and so on. For myself, I use To-Do List. So To-Do List is actually a to-do list app, right? So I can do all these tasks, right? And I can just create any task. So I haven't created this marked task as completed yet, so I just click on it, right? And it will tell me my account, my task, and so on. If I have something specific, I can set a specific value. In this case, I'm just going to let the AI do its job to retrieve context from my prompts and activate this task by itself, okay? So I'm just going to enable this action. Alright, so now I have all the actions ready. To copy it over, simply just click on this, right? And copy this URL. Okay, so copy this URL, go back here and paste it inside the confirmation link. But obviously, you will need to change up the action title. So if that action is to create tasks, just change the name to To-Do List, create tasks, and then paste in the confirmation link that I've showed you how to do it, which is this confirmation link over here. Yes, right? So that's how you do it. So simple, right? Just close it. So once that's added, you can click on this update button over here and press confirm to save up this chat. Okay, so just one thing to take note. If you're using any function calling to access to third-party websites and you want to publish this to the public, or you want to allow someone else to use this chat, you will need to go to actions over here and put in a privacy policy link here. This will then allow you to publish it to the public. Otherwise, you will not be able to do it. So this is just a quick side note. Okay. Now, apart from that, we are done activating Zapier into this Python mentor chat. By clicking on it, we can start running it. Alright. So I'll just do a very quick demonstration. Give me a topic list to learn. Plan it out day by day. I only have an hour a day. Alright. So I'm just going to get Python Mentor to give me a kind of like a syllabus to learn, and I only have once a day. Okay, so it's telling me that they do have this create task action. So let's create a structured learning plan, allocate 1 hour a day, and add them to your to-do list. Okay, this is something new. This is good, right? So honestly, I've run these experiments a couple of times already, and I wasn't able to successfully load the items into my to-do list. Okay, so now it's adding tasks for days 1 to 3. Okay, that's excellent, right? Let's see if it really gets loaded into my to-do list. Okay, I'm just going to click on allow, add it to your to-do list. You can view the tasks here. Ooh, wow, so it did work. Okay, so yep, as you can see, they did manage to add all these into my to-do list. Okay, yeah, so it is a success test. So I'm going to try out another example very quickly by using this SEO Plus Assistant chat I have here. I've already set it up properly and hooked it up to my WordPress as well. So I'm just going to show you that it's also able to retrieve content from my WordPress. Okay, sometimes it's a little bit wonky. It just connects halfway and it just stopped working, right? So you might have to retry it a couple of times. It could be a setting issue as well. Okay, so it says here it's successful and it retrieved all this meta information. So yeah, so like I've mentioned, I was hoping that it's able to retrieve the entire content, but it wasn't able to. I tried it a couple of times. Maybe I might just refine my prompts a little bit more. But at least it shows that Zapier works, right? So with these two examples alone, you can see that the use cases for these are limitless, right? You could essentially create a whole study roadmap for a particular subject, get it to slot it into your to-do list, send it through via an email to yourself. You could respond to people's messages on Slack, get it to retrieve information from your chats on Slack so that you can draft up your message to make it sound more professional to your colleagues, right? And then send it back. So I think the use cases are like endless. But what I do like about this is that you are now able to get out of the scope of ChatGPT and move your information outside, and it's becoming more like a full-fledged AI system rather than just something that creates content for you. Okay, so with these two examples on Zapier, I think it's more than enough for you to set it up on your own. Do try it out yourself. Again, I have all these SEO tools that I've created. I'll put their links in the description below. You can access them, use them if you want to, and also do let me know in the comment section down below if there are any feedback on these SEO chatbots. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this video. If you have find this video helpful, do give me the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. In the next couple of videos, I might refine my SEO chatbots more. If I find something useful, I might just do another video on that. So that's about it. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for my next couple of updates and stay safe.